Hey there, Josh with MessageDesk here. In this video, I'm going to provide a full overview over our shared team inbox for text messaging. With that being said, let's jump right in. The first thing to notice is that our inbox is broken down into two main sections. You have an open inbox and a closed inbox. The major difference between this is that all conversations start in the open inbox. Once they're in the open inbox, a conversation can be in one of three different statuses. You can see those on the screen here. We have new messages, waiting messages, and replied messages. At any point, you can manually close a conversation. So if you open a conversation, you can click on the check mark here in the top left to close it. You can also select multiple conversations at once that take various actions. The main one's going to be marked as closed, but you can also mark these conversations as new, or you can add them to a folder, which I'll go over shortly. Going back to the three statuses a conversation can be in, let's drill down on those. So new messages are probably the most self-explanatory. A new message occurs anytime you receive a new message from your contact. Let's say I close a conversation with Brad Pitt up here, and then Brad Pitt messages me back in a few days. Once he messages me back, that conversation will automatically turn into an open conversation that's marked new. So don't feel scared or wary of closing conversations because you're not deleting, you're not removing those conversations permanently. Instead, you're just closing them to kind of clean up your inbox. And when that contact comes back into the fold by sending you a new message, they'll be back top level in front of mind. Next, let's zoom in on how to use the inbox as a team. So when I jump into any individual conversation, I'll be messaging my contacts back and forth. With that, I'll also see every back and forth conversation that's going on. So I can see that my teammate Ben jumped in, sent a reply. I can also see that we had maybe some automations or broadcast messages get sent to this contact over time. Those are signified by these dark colored messages. You can always hover over the icon to see exactly what sent it. And if you click on this, it'll actually bring you to the part of the app that triggered it. You'll also notice that there may be comments inside of your message thread. Comments are an internal form of communication. So it's a way for you to communicate just with your team and avoid your contacts or customers from seeing that message. So in this case, my teammate Colby mentioned my teammate Ben just to communicate something about the conversation, and then Ben commented back, letting him know that he saw it. You can always post your comments by clicking into the message box and then actually clicking the comment icon down here. Otherwise, by default, you're always going to be typing a text message. If I click in here, type a text message, I can always type from scratch. I can also insert templates potentially. So if I want to pull in a message that's pre-made that I want to reuse, I can click on a template. I can also insert emojis if I want. Or I can personalize the message by inserting a tag. I'm using tags currently, so you can see that I'm pulling in my first name. That's going to be this user_first name tag, or I'm pulling in the contact's first name automatically as well. You can do that by just clicking on the tag icon at the bottom of the inbox. You can go through our tags, right? Contact tags relate to the contact you're messaging. You can also potentially pull in tags from across the app. So user tags relate to you and your team. So whoever sends the message, it would pull in their first name, last name, or full name, which would be first and last name. Organization tags, which would be tags related to the MessageDesk account. So if you want to set a global address, set an organization name, or your organization phone number, which is the default phone number attached to your account, you can auto-insert these into any message as well, along with your time zone. And then lastly is form tags. This is another part of the app where you can actually create custom web forms that you can send to contacts so they can fill out a series of questions and then actually update their information in MessageDesk. This is great for a lot of use cases. I won't dive into this video, but if you're in our Learning Center, which is where this video is located, just search for contact forms to get a full breakdown of those. And then finally, you can attach into your message. So we can throw images in here, we can throw short links or links to the web in here, and then MessageDesk will auto shorten those so they look nicer in your message as well. Once your message is ready to go, you can send it right away by clicking the send button, or you can schedule it for later by clicking this calendar icon. When you schedule a message, it's gonna just schedule it for a date time of your choice. In the scheduling process, you're free to choose a recurring schedule, so you can actually set it to go like weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly if this is a recurring conversation. Generally speaking, a scheduled message is great for an employment reminder, following up with a contact after an initial meeting or after an initial appointment or service date. So feel free to take advantage of that. Otherwise, most of the time you're going to be using our default send message, probably. Now let's go into some of the, I would say, the nice to have sections of the inbox, right? We've covered kind of the core, sending messages, communicating with your team, organizing the inbox and such. Now let's go over what I would call the power features of the inbox, or kind of the best practices for someone who's been using MessageDesk for months, years, and has potentially been sending thousands of messages through the inbox. The first thing to note is how you can organize conversations. So on the left, in the actual navigation, if you click on the inbox module, you'll have a drop-down that appears, and you can actually set up folders for your inbox. In this case, I have a handful of folders set up. I can edit these by just clicking on the Edit Views button there. And a folder is going to be a way for you to move conversations back and forth. So you don't have to just have one giant inbox. You can actually organize them by really whatever you and your team decide. By default, when you create a folder or edit a folder, you're going to be able to assign a color to it. This is just going to let you color code, so potentially some teams might use red to mean groups that are maybe bad, green for groups that are maybe good. Bad and good is up to your interpretation, right? Maybe bad is, hey, we need to be urgently responding to this. This should be top of mind. We need to focus on these. Maybe green means you can kind of be more lackadaisical and kind of wait to reply, right? There's 100 ways you can organize. The nice thing is that MessageDesk and the way this is set up is very simple. So feel free to manipulate it and set it up to your liking. And then you can reorder these by just dragging them as well. And if you're done with a folder, you can always delete it permanently by clicking on the trash can. To move conversations in and out of these different folders, all you have to do is select them. And then you have this More dropdown. And then you can just click Add to View. And then you'll see all of your folders here in this list, and you'll just click which one you want to add them to. Another way to organize your inbox is by using our filters. So at any point, you can filter your conversations. So you can look at conversations by their status. So if I just want to see my new messages, my waiting messages, or my replied messages, I can do that. I can also filter by conversations assigned to a specific teammate. So if I'm in an inbox or a MessageDesk account that maybe has thousands of ongoing conversations, I may actually want to filter that down to just the conversations I'm assigned to. So that way I don't see everything that's going on. I can just zoom into the work I need to deal with. So this is a really powerful feature. The nice thing is that you can compound the filters we're looking at here with your inbox views. So if you go into a specific folder or view here on the left and then apply a filter to it, that's just going to show you contacts in that folder that meet the filter you've applied. So that's organizing the inbox. Again, at a base level, it's very, I would say, simple, right? You're setting up folders. If you're familiar with like your Gmails or Outlooks of the world where you're sending emails, you've probably created labels before. So we're kind of bringing that same methodology to your text messaging workflow. And then the ability to assign conversations may be a new entry into your use of an inbox. But because you're using MessageDesk alongside your team, it's a very crucial element to keeping things organized and scaling your outreach. The last set of things I'll go over in this video is kind of how the inbox works with other parts of the app. The first one is going to be contacts, right? So obviously within the inbox, you're communicating with a contact. At any point in that conversation, you may need to see what that contact's details are, or what information you have on that contact. At any point within the inbox, you can click on this little icon up here that looks like almost two arrows, and then it will open or close your contact's profile. In this, you'll see their name, phone number, potentially their email address. Then you can create a series of custom fields. If you have any additional information you need to store on this contact. You'll also be able to see what groups they're in. This corresponds to the inbox folders or views over here. So you can potentially see where they can be found in the inbox. Groups are also a global way to organize contacts, and you can manage all of your groups within the contacts section of the app as well. And then you can see other parts of the app they've interacted with. So if you set up a keyword autoresponder in MessageDesk, and if this contact's interacted with that, you can see if they're in that group. and if they've actually engaged with that along with other parts of the app. So this is really handy. Potentially you can upload and attach things to this profile as well. And you can always print this profile information out. So if you need to take this and actually store it in a physical file cabinet or just move it to some other tool where you need to store customer information, you can always do that as well. Speaking of printing, you can also export the conversation history with a contact. If you just click on the printer icon up here in the top right, you can export this entire conversation thread. What you're going to be able to do is specify a start date and end date for this export. So let's say you just want to export the last 14 days or the full month. You can just choose the dates accordingly and then create a PDF by clicking this button. MessageDesk at that point will download a PDF to your device. This is probably going to be reserved for people using MessageDesk on a desktop computer, laptop computer, or tablet. Most smartphones probably won't be able to receive the download. So just be aware of that. Once you receive the download, that's yours to keep. MessageDesk doesn't store this locally or anything. This is important to note because let's say you've been going back and forth with a contact for years and using MessageDesk, and say you're ready to kind of clean out your MessageDesk data. You don't want that contact's message history to be stored forever. One of the things we suggest is just exporting that conversation history so you have it for your own files. And then you can get in touch with our team and we can actually delete or scrub our database, basically your account of all that information, and basically start fresh. So if you lose a contact or a contact's no longer involved with your business, this is a very routine kind of maintenance that some businesses do on yearly or bi-yearly basis, where they just kind of go through their contact data and want to clean everything out. So it's one way to kind of get started in that direction. So just to recap, we've gone over the basics of our inbox, sending messages, posting comments to your team. We've gone over how to organize those conversations. Again, you can use our open and close as kind of the primary way. So you have an open inbox and a closed inbox. And then you can filter at any point by how conversations are assigned to your team, the status of a conversation. You can also sort the order of your inbox if you'd like. And then kind of the more advanced way to organize is by actually setting up folders in which you can move contacts in between these folders at will by just selecting them and then adding them to a view. Once you're inside the inbox, you'll be able to open your contacts' information and see all of their profile details. From here, you can export that information or quickly edit any fields if you'd like. And then as you go back and forth with a contact, you'll be able to export this information at any point. You'll be able to see all of the back and forth with your contacts, and then potentially take some actions like assigning the conversation to a teammate. You can close this conversation from here as well, and then obviously sending a message. With that being said, I'm Josh with MessageDesk. I'm the product manager here. If you have any question, our team is on standby. Just reach out to us at support@messagedesk.com via email. Or if you're inside of MessageDesk, you can always click the help button down here in the bottom left and start a conversation with us. Thanks.